Welcome to another episode of the Reelisms podcast, episode 85, ladies and gentlemen. We're 15 way there to the big ol' 100. My goodness gracious. I am Adam Chase Rennie.
I am Christine Chen.
I'm Peyton Brewer.
And I'm Rachel Smith.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on to the podcast. We appreciate it. Sorry for all the technical issues. I know we're trying to elevate our audio game because the first 84 episodes was just like shot. It was like shot in a fishbowl, much like Erzulie. It's just like we're very underwater audio with our podcast, which fits the...
definitely chalk this up to user error, like full on.
Oh no, you were absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine. Echo, like when you're on Zoom, it's kind of an inevitable, like really. So with a little bit of echo, we can get past it. But thank you so much for joining on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. So I just want to begin. Christine, how did you get together with California Mermaid Con?
Yeah, so when I was writing Erzulie, obviously mermaids were a huge part of the film. And I wanted to make sure that the mermaid community would be behind the film in terms of showing it. And because we made this movie for mermaid lovers. And when I was researching about conventions and stuff, of course, the largest mermaid convention popped up, which is the California Mermaid Convention. And so I emailed them hoping somebody would reply and that would let us, come. And Rachel replied, and that's how we are now going to be screening at the California Mermaid Convention. We're very, very excited. So Rachel, tell us how you started this convention. When did it happen, and how have you seen it grow in the last few years?
Well, first of all, was super excited to get your email, so thank you. And this, film being our main sponsor for this year feels perfect and timely and amazing for 2022 in so many ways, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later. But the California Mermaid Convention, as it is today, has been running for quite some time, for over a decade in different iterations. It began with the Promenade of Mermaids, which is still an event we're doing today. This is the 11th year of the Promenade of Mermaids, so that's pretty awesome. And from the Promenade, it grew. And my convention co-founder and business partner, Ashley Rastad, has been with the Promenade since its first year. So Dive Bar opened. Dive Bar is an amazing mermaid bar in downtown Sacramento. We have a 40-foot saltwater aquarium. I'm the head mermaid there. I train, hire the mermaids, and I perform. And Dive Bar started getting involved in the Promenade. So when that happened, we started adding events. We added a mermaid fashion show one year with the Promenade. Then we added some kids swim at one of the hotels down the street. So it just kept building and building. And as it was building, we sort of rebranded and started calling it Sacramento Mermaid Weekend, because it was a weekend of these little events, fun things. And in 2018-19, we were planning this, and my fiance actually, we were having a conversation about Mermaid Weekend, and he said, well, this is big, and you have all these resources, and why don't you make this a convention, a full-blown convention, Because I had been to some conventions on the East Coast. I did some lectures there, performed a little bit. And we decided, let's go for it. Let's figure out how to make this a convention. So our first year under the California Mermaid Convention branding was 2019. 2020, we went digital, which was cool because it made us an international convention. We had merfolk joining in from Brazil and Hawaii, from Europe. It was awesome. Last year we did a hybrid event. We had digital and in-person events, and this year we're doing another hybrid event because opening it up to the whole world made it accessible, and everyone's still asking for all this awesome digital content. So it's coming up. I mean, we're like 3 weeks out to con here, which is very exciting and a little terrifying, much like your film, I think. And we can't wait. We're super excited for all of the events. There's so many things happening this weekend, like not this weekend, but the weekend of the con. I'm never really sure where to start. You know, there's a parade, there's a fantasy masquerade ball, there's a party at dive bar, there's kids swims, there's workshops, there's photography opportunities. We have a conservation lecture, we have a representation panel, there's vendors, there's so much stuff. There's so much cool stuff.
Yeah, we can't imagine what it's like going through planning such an incredible event. Peyton and I are doing this on a small scale for our Erzulie tour, and we're going out of our minds already. So,
and we're really excited that we have a screening of the film.
Yes,
on Thursday night, like at the Tower Theater, which you guys, Sacramento has so much cool history, and the Tower Theater is like unbelievable. Yeah. It's beautiful. There's a cool little cafe and like this jungly garden place next door to eat. Like this screening will be off the chain. Like it's gonna be really cute. Do people say off the chain? Did I date myself?
Of course they do.
I think we should bring it back.
Off the chain. No, we're really excited about that. So make sure the link is in all our profiles, but make sure to go in and pre-purchase your tickets. We're doing it through our spot, also another partner of ours called Gather, and it's a theatrical on-demand service. So it's basically a way to make sure that there are going to be enough patrons that are going to go to push over and have the event. So I think we have 10 days left. We got to push it over the curve. So everybody who is interested in watching the film, please make sure to go in and put in your ticket reservation and everything. So yay. Yes. So tell us a little bit about mermaiding. What is that? How did you start? When did you start? And how has the community grown in the years that you've been a mermaid?
Yeah, in the decade that I've been a professional mermaid, it has grown exponentially. I always sort of look at the mermaid community in kind of a Venn diagram. I feel the professional mermaids who it's a job, not necessarily an identity, but job. We do the work, we do birthday parties, we do events, we swim in aquariums, et cetera, et cetera. There's the hobby mermaids who are fun, it's cosplay, it's photos on Instagram, it's et cetera, et cetera. And then there's sort of this like conservation, history, and a sort of myth, right? The sort of like intellectual little part of mermaids. And because it's a Venn diagram, there's lots of overlap and everyone, swims in all three different circles. It's been really, really interesting to see how it's gone from something that was pretty inaccessible because of the cost of tails, especially. You were talking about silicone tails a little bit earlier, and how expensive they are. They're beautiful. They're expensive. They take a lot of training to use safely, and to look great in your silicone tail while you're swimming and to maneuver it and all that. And now there are so many more options for everyone to get into mermaiding safely, kids, adults, everybody in between. I always love the water. I have a water family. I was born in Hawaii, and my parents always took me swimming. And my mother is a seamstress. So when I was in high school, I had this idea that I wanted a mermaid costume that I could swim in. And because this was the Bronze Age, there weren't commercially available tails yet, right? So she made me the tail. She was pretty sure I was going to drown. But I managed not to drown. And so in high school, I had this, little fabric tail that we take on family vacations and whatnot. When I got out of college, I graduated, and a friend of mine saw a job listing for this new place that was opening called the Dive Bar in Sacramento, and they were seeking mermaid performers for their aquarium. So I auditioned, and I actually had a little bit of a resume from these silly photos that I took on vacation. I was hired to be just a mermaid at first, and then a week before we opened, our office girl, who was the head mermaid, unfortunately was let go. So I stepped into that position, and I have been taking my way through ever since, and it's worked out pretty well. And working at Dive Bar, I sort of, I joke and I downplay it, but the opportunities that Dive Bar has given me, and the chance to be able to make my living as an artist, as a performer, it's invaluable, right? Through Dive Bar, I've learned office skills, I've learned leadership, I've learned all of these different things, and that's been pretty cool. But as far as mermaiding goes, we've learned a lot too. When we opened in 2011, there was hardly anything, right? We were one of Mern Taylor's first clients, getting his first silicone tails.
Wow.
And it's such uncharted territory. It still is, right? We're still figuring out how do we certify merfolk to be safe and to be qualified to work parties and events? How do we make sure we have business insurance? How do we make sure that our clients are safe, right? Especially if you're working with children in water. It's one of the most dangerous things you can do, But back then it was even crazier, we didn't know what makeup to use. Our makeup was like flying off every night, and it was a lot of trial and error. There were a few professional mermaids on the scene at that time. Of course, Mermaid Hannah, Mermaid Lyndon, who came up and trained us, who we owe our swim style to, Medusa Arena down in Florida, as sort of these trailblazing mermaids. Actually, we have a really cool lecture on the history of mermaiding as part of our convention, and it's online. So like all of this stuff, I'm like breezing past. Mermaid Reina is going to go into all that in depth, but the change has been so vast, it feels almost undescribable. The community is still small enough that when someone mentions to me, oh, I know a mermaid in Ohio, it's Mermaid Bunny Lollipop, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know Mermaid Bunny Lollipop, right? Like it's still very small, but from those early days, like the first 5 years when there were like 25, right, merfolk on a forum, it's amazing to see it grow so much. It's very cool. Growing up to support a really cool independent film doing a screening tour across California.
Yeah, we are so stoked about it, and we've been learning so much about the mermaid community just through research, through making the film. We also had the experience of, well, the makeup stay on. I, as a director, about a week or two before the start of the film, have usually freak out sessions about, oh no, did we do this or did we do that? And I remember freaking out to my makeup artist saying, like, what are we going to do if the mermaid gets in and all the makeup melts off? And she's like, this is why it costs this much for the mermaid, because there's special things that go on so that the mermaid doesn't melt. And I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so, underwater makeup is
the whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So yeah, no, we're just really excited to be a part of it. And
I remember when we were in pre-production that Christine and I had a conversation where we were like, okay, 30% of our budget has to go to the tail and the makeup, and then the other 45% has to go to camera, and then whatever's left is like what we got to do everything else. So it was funny.
Yeah, you're right.
Totally yeah, pretty much.
We had the opportunity to have Robert Short, who's the tail maker from Splash, he's the sweetest man on the planet. And he came to our first convention and gave a lecture about Splash, and we screened the film, and it was really fun. And we also did a digital interview with him for our YouTube channel. And he's the nicest man. He sent me an engagement present. Like, he's so sweet. He gave a big Splash poster to Dive Bar that I'm currently reframing. Hopefully we'll have it hung up by the time of the launch party. But it's so like to know all these trailblazers, like it's really,
Yeah.
really cool. Like to see, like, oh, we, you know, when they did Splash, they had no idea, right? Like they couldn't
Right.
research. It was just like, well, and like luckily Daryl Hannah was just amazing, and she was so much better than their stunt mer person that they were like, oh no, we're just gonna use you, Daryl. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I really wanted to do a mermaid film because I grew up loving The Little Mermaid. So many, I think, little girls and boys and stuff grew up with The Little Mermaid, and a lot of people on my what happened to Erzulie? Oh, that's me. I think I fell off.
Yep.
I think you're
A little bit.
spinning.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well,
What happened?
it's fine. Just, I mean, we can keep going. We're picking it up on Facebook. We're fine on Facebook.
Well, what
We're
was
gonna
cool about the
go
Little
on.
Mermaid TV show, or not TV
Yeah.
show, the movie, was that there was a TV show. Because you can watch
Right.
the movie and like it's wonderful, and so many people saw it, and it was this big influence. But like she's a mermaid for half of it, and then you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
like she's not a mermaid anymore. So, but the TV show, she was a mermaid the whole time, and you got to see where they lived and like the marketplace and all her sisters. So like there were multiple mermaids, and she had a deaf friend. Like it was so
Right.
cool to have like more mermaid time, more mermaids all the time.
Right. And
It's like
and
how. Oh, go
right.
ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
It's like how everybody watches Hook, which is a fantastic movie, but like we watched the 3-minute mermaid scene like possibly 7,000 times. Just like again, no, again, like more mermaids.
Well, that's a great scene in Hook.
It's so good.
Yeah. And I know like a lot of like I mean, that's growing up, like I've always watched like behind the scenes of every single like movie I've watched, and the behind the scenes for Hook, like just for that sequence alone, like took a year and a half just to choreograph. It took like that long to just invest the money, invest the time, make sure it's safe, make sure everyone is taken care of, and go through it over and over and over again. And it's fascinating seeing the time changing from, like you said, from Hook and then to Splash, and then to to of course, like there's other content that uses mermaids and stuff, but like in a more practical way, or a safer way, that you can cheat it with the camera, stuff like that. But
well, and
it's
now
fascinating.
there's CGI too, right? So you were talking about how
Right.
30% of your budget went into, you knew it needed to go into the tail and the makeup. And now I feel like so many productions are like, just CGI, which of course is a lot of work and still very expensive. But there's something about having those practical effects. Like Splash still holds up and looks amazing.
Oh,
and some
absolutely.
early CGI doesn't still look good. Like I remember
No.
watching the first Harry Potter again recently and being like, oh, this is
It's dated now. Yeah.
yeah,
It's dated. Yeah.
but you can still watch Splash or Beetlejuice or any of those, and it looks great.
well, like you said, like, I mean, CGI, yeah, nothing to against CGI, because we've come such a long way with technology and stuff, but it's the same for practical effects with mermaid tails, and even like, other uses for what'd you say? Silicone. Like there's other uses for silicone literally everywhere. Something that's like a little more safer too, which I mean, I can't really speak for those sets that uses mermaids. Like, like I know I watched a documentary on Disneyland, and they had a ride that was like a submarine ride. And this was like back in the 50s or the 60s, something like that. It was 60s, right? Yeah. And they had this, like, was it like just a submarine ride? And then there's two mermaids that just sat like on a rock, and that like it was so strange to me. Yeah,
the Disneyland mermaids, which are like legendary, and I wish I could
yeah,
go back in time and do one. But they had a team of women who would swim around the submarines at Disneyland, and the submarine ride was just its own ride. And then I feel like it was sort of this like added little idea where they were like, oh, but we could have mermaids in the lagoon, which is the first portion of it.
Right.
And it was a combination of like it not being really safe for the women to be swimming around these subs that are on a track, right? Like, so that was one thing. The chlorine in that lagoon was insane. Like,
it was harming the actors, right? Yeah.
And then there's also this legend that I'm like not sure if it's true or not, but like men would jump in the lagoon.
And try to swim to the
rock.
rock. Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard that too.
Like, that's the thing. No, but they only lasted for a couple summers. They had a specialty performance with a bunch of mermaids in the lagoon when the ride first opened, and then for a few summers in the 60s they had them. But
that's fascinating.
I want to travel back, and every time I go on that ride at Disneyland, my face is smashed against the glass, and I'm like, I want in. I want the chlorine to burn my skin just once. Like, it's fine. I'll be okay.
I can't even imagine swimming in chlorine because the control and the form you have to maintain to be fish, essentially, as a mermaid, if you will. It's hard. That's really hard.
Chlorine is the worst.
Doesn't it also like deteriorate the tail?
Especially if you don't properly clean your tail and rinse it off and take good care of it. We're super spoiled at Dive Bar because we have our saltwater tank, and our tank team keeps it really lovely for us, and the pH matches our eyes, so it doesn't burn our eyes, and it doesn't burn when it goes up our nose, so we can do all of our inverted tricks.
Right.
Yeah, chlorine's the worst. Like, freshwater mer, occasionally a saltwater mer.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing that whole swimming session, and we had the tail for like 2 hours, the tail we were going to use in the film, and the tail maker was like, literally 2 times. It can go in 2 times, then you have to wash it off for like 30 minutes. And when we did that, it stripped the color of the tail, and then we had to send it back. And we were like, okay, no practicing in the pool. We'll use a fake tail.
I didn't even know
for
that.
now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was
it killed the paint on it. Like we learned a lot from that first test session. Yes, and we learned how hard it was to mermaid, to do the mermaiding as well.
Yeah,
but shout out to Layla.
Because there's so many aspects of it, right? It's the movement, and then you have your buoyancy, and then you have your vessel, and then you have your acting, right? Because your mermaid is still acting while doing all this other stuff. Like, so many things. And I worked with Jenna Malone when we were filming Lorelei at Dive Bar. We did a training session together, and she did really well, but I feel like every time, and it was probably the same for you folks when you started with the mermaid training, it's like, oh, this looks effortless and easy, but it like ballet, right? It's so much work.
So much.
Yeah.
What a workout for you guys. Like, I couldn't imagine how sore you are after, a performance. It's insane because you have to squeeze everything.
Yeah, nothing is relaxed. It's like, and last night at Dive Bar, we do 2 swims and we warm up in between. And 2 swims like gets you, like you're done after 2 swims.
Exactly.
Right? And we had a special group come in and they requested a 3rd swim. They gave some monetary motivation, which I was like, okay, but and when I first started at Dive Bar 10 years ago, I was like, yeah, I can do doubles. I can do 4 swims. It's great. Now I'm like, no. 2 is fine. So I'm very sore today. That 3rd one just a little too.
It kills.
Do you do any exercises for the breath work by any chance? That's hard.
Yeah, that's really hard. Pardon me. So Lyndon, when she came up and trained us first, she did very, very basic free dive exercises and taught us. Because I'm not free dive certified and I'm not free dive instructor certified. I don't do any training with breath hold because I don't know what I'm talking about. That could be dangerous, right? I don't want to endanger any of my performers. But when we're training and when we're performing, our breath hold comes naturally. Usually after the shock of the cold water, after the first 5 minutes, a lot better during our swims. But we only hold our breath for between like 35 and 45 seconds. But the audience doesn't really care as long as you're not looking like you're puffing your cheeks out or you're zooming up to get air, so it's all about like misdirection and redirection and that acting, right? Because
so what you're saying is if you're dying, you just pretend like it's fine.
Yes,
and you just slowly
yeah. I'm at the end of my breath hold and this is the surface, right? And I'm like, I hit everything, it's time to go up.
That poker face, my goodness.
Pretty. Exactly. All about the poker face.
Right.
I know about that all too well. You're on set and everything is crumbling around you. You're like, everything's fine.
The director poker face has got to be next level. I don't have that.
Well, I think I have a poker face, but then people who have worked with me for many, many years can read from my eyes apparently what I'm actually feeling.
Yeah.
I'm like smiling and they're like, but I can see on your face that you went to kill somebody. Yeah.
The poker face is subtle, but I know when to leave you alone.
Smiling here. Here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There, I saw somebody had a quote on their backpack of one of the filmmakers that said, like, I may look like I'm smiling at you, but I've killed you 3 times already in my mind.
Can we get bumper stickers for the film that say that? Like,
yeah, right?
3 times already.
Well, you have only seen the sizzle, right? So what are your thoughts? And how, I guess, what do you think people should expect, or I'm just curious what your thoughts on the sizzle.
What my thoughts are. I mean, first of all, I'm really excited that this is such a female-led project. Like, that is awesome. We're a female-led convention, you guys. We're all out here trying to get things done.
Yes,
and we are, which is great. So when I did like a little reaction.
Yes, it was so fun. We loved it.
Which was actually my second reaction because I watched it first and was just like, and then I was like, oh, I need to do a thing because this is awesome. First of all, just aesthetically, it looks so pretty. Like the shots are composed so beautifully, and my college degree is in illustration, so I'm really like, I love just
composition.
Yeah. I'm also really excited that you developed the lead characters so well, and they each have their own color story, and they each really have their own physicality. Even in the trailer, I could really see that in the different girls on film. So that was awesome. And I'm loving the learning more about the characters on your social media with the different the cocktails that you guys are making. That's so much fun. I'm loving that. And of course, I'm like, more mermaid. I need more mermaid. I need to see her. Like, I want to see her.
We're like slowly
not.
Yeah, we were really big on there's no pictures anywhere of her in her full regala and everything, because we want people to be surprised.
And I love that. That's like the long game slow tease, and it makes it just so much better. I love it.
We're so excited to reveal how she looks completely, right? Because the first time we saw her in her full regalia on set was also completely all the actors said that they just forgot what they were doing, they were in it, because it was just so magical to see her completely come out and be Erzulie, and that speaks so much to our lead actress Layla, who did an incredible job, but she transforms completely and is just magical. And one of the biggest things we wanted going in, Camille, my co-writer, and I, was we really wanted a film for young women, teenagers growing up, where I remember my first slumber party, and we wanted that experience of you watch this film and it's with your close friends. I don't know, you watch The Craft or one of those fun culty films, and 10 years later when life has got you down, you cut together with your 4 or 5 best friends again, and you relive what it was like to just be free and be a kid and have a good time. And that's really what we want this film to be about. But we also want to make sure that there are role models on screen that represent how women are. And we're complicated. We have many dimensions. We're not just pretty, even though we're all beautiful in and out of with our flaws. And we want to show what it's like to deal with trauma and to live with it and to have your ride or die, family around you, and just really show the multifacetedness of real women. And so I'm glad from the sizzle itself that you were able to see that. And diversity and inclusion has been a huge thing for me as a filmmaker, behind and in front of the camera. So yay, you caught it.
That you mentioned those films like The Craft, or even I'm thinking about the 90s Little Women, right? These female led films that have characters that each girl at the slumber party can find one and be like, oh, I'm a Beth. Oh, I'm, Nancy. I'm Nancy. But that's really great. And I can see that in the trailer. And I'm wondering, like, the name, right? Like, where, like, how did that get workshopped and brainstormed?
For Erzulie?
Yeah.
So
it's a great question, Rachel.
That is a great question.
Oh.
So, and I have hopefully a great answer. So Erzulie is a real goddess. She is part of a Haitian Louisiana folklore. And there are different versions of her. And one of them, La Serene or Mami Wata, is actually connected and often shown as a half fish, half human form. So there is some essence of mermaiding with Erzulie, but Erzulie herself is a goddess in a lot of the folklore, and she's a protector of women and children, and she was just the perfect conduit for what we were trying to explore in our film. When I first had the seed of the idea, none of that was part of it. I just knew I wanted a mermaid in it. And then I knew that it would be a strong female-led film. And I really wanted the dynamics of the friendship in line with them meeting this mermaid. And so I looked back and I had a 7-page short story. And the beats are still very in line with the feature itself. One of these days I need to reveal or show this short after the film's done its route and there aren't spoilers and all that stuff, because it's really crazy how closely aligned the beats are. But Erzulie kind of fell in our lap through our research, and she was a perfect match. And so Erzulie is a real goddess, actually.
There's so much rich cultural connection to merfolk with those Haitian water goddesses, right? And African water goddesses. Did you work with any like spiritualist folks who are in the religions that, work with Mami Wata or La Sarine or any of those awesome goddesses?
We definitely consulted different. We have Mama Priestess. We have some connections in Louisiana for voodoo high priestess, I guess you would call it. Because one of the biggest things that we wanted to make sure was to not misappropriate a culture. And so cultural appropriations, that's the term, right? So we wanted to make sure that Roxy was really big on this with the makeup, was that we weren't just doing stuff because it was pretty or visually stunning, but that there was a special meaning behind everything. And so we consulted priestesses just to make sure, hey, what are the different markings? What do they actually mean? why would she have certain, markings and whatnot. And so from that aspect, we did. And we did a crap ton of just research, just reading and seeing the history behind Mami Wata and Erzulie herself.
That makes me even more excited. Like I want like when she's revealed, right? Like a costume design and then like an essay about like, okay, this like I'd love all of that. That's
yay.
So cool.
Yeah, no, we're excited. And you know what's, I don't know if you know, but towards the end of our tour, we have been asked to present the tale to the International Mermaid Museum at in Aberdeen. So we will, that's where it will, the final resting spot of our tale, until I told them if we have to do a sequel, we will do a sequel. There's a possibility that that tale will have to come out temporarily from exhibition. But yeah.
And is the tale traveling to Con?
Yes, it will be traveling. Yes, it's coming. Yes. We would like to forewarn people that it is very much. Oh, somebody said, "Where's the museum?" It's in Aberdeen, Washington. Actually, Aberdeen, Washington. That's about 2.5 hours from Seattle. And yes, the tale is coming. We like to forewarn people that this is very different from the professional tales that people probably use and see. It's movie magic. So a lot of the stuff is what looks best on camera, which may not be extremely pleasing to the eye when you actually see it. And it's which is really funny because there's two people on our set that are mermaid connoisseurs. So Roxy McDaniel, who's our hair and makeup lead head, and Camille, my Gladney, who's my co-writer. They love mermaids and everything there is about mermaids. And when they first saw the tale, it definitely like freaked out. They're like, this is not a silicone tale. It is nothing like any of the professional, stuff. And then it got on camera and all was forgotten because it's all about how it looks on camera. It is an illusion, and it's more we're taking into consideration less so about the longevity of how it moves in the water from a mermaid standpoint, but more of how can we still maintain the look and feel realism of that creature, yet help an actress that has to also act in it and is not a professional mermaid as well. So there are a lot of extra considerations when making a tale for film. So that's something.
There are a ton.
Yes.
And going back to what we were talking about earlier with Robert Short's tale, a lot of she had to be glued into it every time.
Yeah, ours was Layla had to be, when she had to pee, it was a whole problem.
Yeah. That's the thing. And the splash tail had these beautiful silk extensions that look amazing on camera, but absolutely have rotted off. Now when you see the original tail, I think it's at like a Hard Rock or Planet Hollywood restaurant or something. Right, it's cool. Somewhere, but a bunch of it is gone because these things that look so beautiful on camera
don't last.
Or the tails in Hook, like one of the mermaids had no flipper. She was in the tube. So because her fin was never going to be on camera. So they were like,
exactly.
There's a difference between what we need to use to work in or to play in and what does look good on camera, right?
Yes. So this is definitely not a tale that we would say, hey, use this and then swim professionally in it at all. It's definitely not. We actually had to build in a zipper on the side of the tail, and she was also glued in for most of it, because there was no way she could tread water for hours at a time doing take after take after take. It was just not realistic. And so the slit on the side was so that you could still see the mermaid top part of it, but she could very much plant herself in a river that was alive and rushing and everything, and still create the illusion of a mermaid that's swimming upright, type thing. So it was hard. Even with that, Layla, it was a workout for Layla, our mermaid.
I'm sure she was exhausted.
She was exhausted. Yes, I think the day of our wrap, we did our finale on the last day of our filming schedule, because we had scheduled, what's funny is we had scheduled this finale for the first week of our filming. But what happened was, when I wrote the script, the location we had in mind, the river at that time when I got into it, was only waist deep. And what I forgot is that Mother Nature does whatever it wants.
Yeah.
And when we showed up, the location that we had written for was completely flooded by the river. The river had risen several inches, and
But it was crazy because it wasn't because of a rainstorm. What had happened was that there was a huge storm, like
somewhere else,
10 towns above us, and all of the water came rushing down to us. So it was crazy. Everyone walked out the day like ready to film the big scene, and there was water everywhere, and we were like,
we're like, this doesn't make sense. It's sunny outside. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like
didn't.
Erzulie showed up.
Oh yeah. Totally. Yeah, she totally showed up. And also within the first 2 minutes of this one big finale scene, Erzulie originally had really crazy teeth, because she goes, she turns into she's beyond herself, and she transforms into a completely different creature. And within those 2 minutes, our lead actress accidentally punched our Erzulie in the mouth, and it flew out and got eaten by the river. So yes, there was a sacrifice that had to be made in order for us to continue shooting at the river. The river definitely took some sacrifices.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it was an incredible experience, and we just hope that people will love it. But most importantly, that it will be something later on that we can do a sequel for, that the world will want to see. Because we have so many ideas that for the second one, we want to involve the mermaid community from an international standpoint, and show mermaids in all parts of the world. So we'll see. Hopefully people will love it, spread the word, and then we'll be back again next year at the Mermaid Convention. So yes,
and what's going to help, right, is looking at your website, seeing all these different screenings. You guys are going up and down the West Coast and over into some places down in the South and the East Coast too, I think, right?
Yeah, we are going coast to coast, it seems like. But we're going, our first event kicks off actually tomorrow in Austin, and it's sold out. Yay! So April 30th. We're really excited. And it's sold out because it's a very small special experience, because we're partnering up with a startup called Freestyle, and it's an immersive pool experience. The film is projected at the bottom of the pool. So if you're swimming, and we have about 10 mermaids coming, including Miss Texas Mermaid USA, from both the Miss Mermaid USA pageant, as well as the Monarch International pageant. And ideas, if you're swimming in it, you can watch and hear the film in the pool. It's kind of crazy. I am excited to see how it's all going to work. It was designed for athletes that are swimmers, so that they can practice for long periods of time, and have it be an interactive, fun experience. When I work out, it's nice to be able to watch something and work out for a longer period of time, because if you just had to run with nothing, no other stimulation is kind of actually very difficult to be.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I've got a podcast in my ear whenever I'm jogging about, because otherwise I'm just stop.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, why do I have to work out? So that's our first event, and then we are in Austin for about a week, and then we're going to move to Louisiana. We have a mermaid masquerade actually happening in Shreveport, and then we have our opening night in New Orleans. There will be a theatrical at the Broad Theater there, so if there are any New Orleans, Louisiana mermaids, please come. And then we're going to come to you guys the following week, and we're so excited about that. So excited.
Well, and it feels so again, getting your email just made so much sense to Ashley and I. You know, it was like we're California, we are film industry here, right? We've got Hollywood. We have this amazing independent film industry too. And that's something we've always wanted to celebrate. That's why we have the Hollywood sign on our poster, right? Because that is part of our California experience. So it's really great to you guys be like right here with us and show the tail. And like, yeah, there's so many things. We're doing an awesome spotlight on the film as part of the con, which is free. And of course the screening. Like I am so frustrated because I have to swim, but I'm like, oh, can I somehow just clone myself and then I can be in two places? But I want that screening to happen. So like, guys, buy the tickets. I'm probably gonna buy tickets just so it happens, right? Like support this event. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we're so excited about it, and it's perfect that we can be there at California Mermaid Convention to make it happen. And we just hope people love it and that the people in your community love it, because that's who we made it for. And hopefully we can involve more people from the community in the next one. So that's the hope. Yes.
So many merds.
Yes, all the mer folks. We wanted you guys there. Yes. So
segueing a little bit, is there something or anything that you want people to know about your con or about what's coming up in the next few weeks, what people can look out for, things like that?
I mean, get your tickets. Like that's the biggest thing I want to say is get your tickets. And that doesn't mean you have to spend money. Like we are really, really invested in making this an accessible event. So we have free events. Everything on Sunday is completely free to attend. A bunch of our online stuff is free to attend. You can attend even if you can't travel to the location. Like we want the community to participate and come together as much as possible. There are events that are limited capacity. So if you've been thinking about booking a workshop or a photo shoot, do it sooner than later because they're filling up and then you're gonna miss your fun opportunity to do that. So yeah, just grab those tickets, keep spreading the word, grab a ticket to the screening, make it happen. The Tower Theater is awesome. Sacramento just is wonderful to visit and to explore. And because our events spread all over the city, there's a lot of opportunity to have a really fun time somewhere new. So pretty stoked. Just stoked about it. I don't know. And I think that Mermaid Ashley is in the chat too.
Oh, yay. Shout out to Mermaid Ashley.
But yeah, if she's got anything to add, I don't know. Did I miss anything, Smash? What are we doing? So many, your guys' comments are so making me so happy. Hi, Alex. Yeah.
We're really excited to be a part of it. And we're gonna have a booth. So hopefully after you watch the film, you can ask us any questions whatsoever. We have plenty of stories to talk about. That's for sure.
We'll have cool merch and behind the scenes special things. And then we're a part of the awesome bubble ball, which we're so excited about.
Yes. What's I guess, is it like prom attire? Like what should we wear?
What should you wear? So the bubble ball is high mermaid fantasy. So like the sky's the limit, big crowns, big headdresses, anything mermaid, ocean, nautical fantasy. A lot of pirates usually show up. You gotta watch it. Steampunk is pretty popular, like oceany steampunk. It's next level. So and of course, like if you want to wear just a formal gown and like be a little fancy, that's awesome. But merfolk go all out. Like we've had a light up roller skating lily pad zooming around before. We had a clownfish completely covered in sequins. Like Mermaid Smash has this amazing like sexy shark cocktail dress where she looked like a shark was just, having a little snack on her.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see everybody's costumes. And our mermaid Layla, now we can call our Erzulie will also be there. So we'll see what she comes up with look wise. And and everything. So no, we're excited. We're excited to learn more about the community and just about safety and conservation and stuff like that. As you know, I don't know. Well, you'll know when you watch the film, but conservation is a really, really big part of our film. In fact, our New Orleans screening, our opening night is 100% donated to the Louisiana Coastal River and Restoration program. So, because without our waters, there are no mermaids. So it's important for us to keep our water clean and safe for all. So.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for doing that and taking that into consideration. We do river cleanups as part of our event. We do 2 every year. We're doing an awesome field lecture with Mermaid Echo this year. They're going to be taking, because we're so close to the river at our convention site, they're actually going to be taking a group down and talk about freshwater ecology, because of course mermaids and oceans usually get a really big focus, but freshwater ecology affects everything. We can't drink the salt water, so like we gotta, it's really important to everything. And we're excited for our representation panel too. That's a really, really important part of the convention, and we're excited for you folks to see everything, like you said, to learn, and every year we're learning too.
We love the design, the mermaid, that the one with the beautiful black mermaid what a beautiful t-shirt or design. It was our merch this year is kind of next level. I'm so excited. That was by Mermaid Lux, and it actually has a bunch of Sacramento landmarks on it, like our little Golden Bridge and the Delta King. And when you see Old Town for the promenade, you'll recognize a lot of things that are on that shirt. I think I watched that time lapse of the drawing like a million times. So it was just beautiful. She was
design, sending us all of her sketches, and Mermaid Smash and I were just like screaming. And like I got that design got me like a little misty eyed. I had a lot of like California, Sacramento pride. Like it was like, oh, it's so pretty.
Yes. Yeah, we're in. When we were researching and found Dive Bar, we were just geeking out about that. Like just being in a bar with a bunch of mermaids. I don't know. It was just really surreal.
Oh, just wait. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Cool stuff. Very cool stuff coming for the launch party at Dive Bar. And that is free to attend if you come in before 9 p.m. too. Like, yeah, so much cool stuff.
Go to the Dive Bar, everybody. Go to the Dive Bar. Go to the Mermaid Con and then go watch the film.
Go do all the mermaid things. Every single one.
Yes, please. All right. Adam, Peyton.
We're ready to take this bad boy for a landing. We're ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for participating. Instagram, Facebook. We love you. Any other last words? I mean, besides, please visit CaliforniaMermaidCon.com, right?
Yep, that is correct.
Get your tickets. Website. What are you doing?
We work really hard to update it as much as you can, and all the info's on there for everybody.
That's awesome. Thank you so much again, Rachel, for coming in and giving us an hour of your time. Trying to develop a convention is nuts, probably. So I know you probably have to get going. So we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Peyton, for joining us, co-hosting this show. Come on, give it up for Peyton.
Yes, go.
I'm an honorary third host at this point.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, you just, when you can sub in whenever or just come in whenever,
Okay.
ErzuliFilm.com and
ErzuliFilm.com.
Please go watch the film on Thursday of the week of the Mermaid Con. Get your tickets 19th. Now so it will happen.
Yep.
Yes,
right.
May 19th. You got to go get them so that we can push over the tipping point for the tickets, and then we can definitely have the event. So yes.
The tickets, and then the iTunes it's going to release on iTunes on June 14th.
Correct.
But listen, you guys, you got to get to those events. The conventions are off the chain. We gotta get on it. ladies and gentlemen. So thank you to everyone participating. We appreciate it. Now, did you guys forget that this is still the Get Reelisms podcast?
Yes,
so get your Reelisms book today.
Yes.
What are you doing, everybody? You think we're doing 85 episodes because we thought we're just going to be just another mermaid podcast? No, we're also a mermaid and a Get Reelisms podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Get your books today. Get your posters. What are we doing here? Come on, let's be real.
Flawless transition.
You like that? Yeah, dude. That's marketing, baby. Let's go. Get Reelisms podcast. GetReelisms.com, CaliforniaMermaidCon.com, ErzuleFilm.com. You know it. You love it, everybody. Thank you so much again, Rachel, for coming in and taking an hour of your time. That's it, folks.
Yes.
I got nothing else for you.
Is there like a come to the California Mermaid Con or like some sort of thing that you guys do?
I think you did it. Like
I did it. That's it.
That's free marketing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, come to the splash into the
Splash
California.
on in.
Yes,
It's
Wow.
a 3-day
It's gonna be
celebration.
fantastic.
Oh no, I think we were gonna see ourselves out at this point.
What are you doing?
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. On those dad jokes note, let's get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again, Instagram. Thank you again, Facebook. We'll see you next week. Ta-ta.